So because humans have to talk to each other, we have always made up stories, and every human culture has always had a story to live by.
You know, something that I was so touched by when I first encountered your work was the way in which you told me the story of Gaia's dance. That you sort of said that there's a story that the science actually can support, that opens ourselves to the wonderment of this living system that we call the planet. And since we're kind of taking a mythopoetic view in this series, I thought at some point, and maybe even now, to give us a sense of, you know, what is this beautiful story of who we are and what this planet is. Could you give us listeners a sense of that?
Yes, I'd love to. Humans have always been storytelling creatures. I think it's one of the very main things that distinguishes us is that we use communication languages, while the rest of nature just does communion, which is the direct transmission of information. So, because humans have to talk to each other, we have always made up stories, and every human culture has always had a story to live by. We had the stories when religions ruled the world. The stories were religious stories. When we got into secular society, the stories became secular. We have the scientific stories. We have all of this plethora of stories that people have been telling each other from time immemorial. And so we have to, our job kind of as we grow up is to figure out what story do we want to live by. And everybody actually does live by a story, but many people don't recognize that what the story is something I like to call our garden of beliefs. That is what makes up our story, is what do we think, what do we believe is true, is the case, is how things are, right? And so from the time we're little kids, we start getting these stories from our elders and then from each other. And nowadays we get a lot of it off social media. And so we constantly have to work to weed this garden of beliefs, of those beliefs that don't work for us anymore, and plant new beliefs, try them out. Does this make the garden work better? What do we mean by better? How do we judge whether our story is a good story? And the only way I know to talk about that is, does it lead you to a better life? Does it lead you as an individual to a better life? Does it lead all of humanity to a better life? So we have to recognize that our stories shouldn't become too fixed, that we need to keep, new things keep happening in the world, and you have to figure out how to fit them in. If your belief system is very, very rigid, it's going to be very hard to be open-minded, right? So that's a start.